All right, so we're here again covering question 7 in Keith Folse's Keys to Teaching Grammar to English Language Learners. Thanks for sticking with me so far. Question 7 deals with adverbs of frequency and their word order. So for those of you who may need a brief refresher, an adverb is a word that describes a verb. It adds to the verb is how we like to remember it in our class. So the question is, I eat usually chicken with my rice. Why is this not correct? People still understand me, but some tell me it's wrong. So other adverbs of frequency, according to this nice little graphic picture, include always, usually, frequently, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, and never. These are not exact percentages that you see along the left-hand side of this inverted pyramid, but rather just kind of ballpark, right? So estimates. So, so adverbs of frequency, the general rule is that they go before all verbs. They go before all verbs except forms of to be. To be is one of the most frequent verbs we use in the English language. It is also the exception to a lot of the rules, as you can see. So like, I usually eat chicken because the main verb, again, practice identifying that main verb, is to eat. Eat is not a form of to be. So I usually eat versus I am always hungry. So the verb is am, which is a form of to be. It's the first person present tense I am, so of to be. I am always, not I always am hungry. It can be said, as is in the top example, people understand what you mean. It is not, prescriptively speaking, it is not correct. And then adverbs of frequency also go between the helping verb and the main verb. So auxiliary just means helper, helper verb, and then lexical just means the verb that gives meaning to the sentence. Like, so to wear is the main verb. Should wear denotes like, oh, I suggest this, you should wear it. It's a good idea to do this, so you should. It's more of a suggestion, so should always wear. Another auxiliary verb we see in the, oh, what did we just talk about? The past perfect tense. Like, I had always known. I had always known. Had known is the verb. The auxiliary, the helper verb is had. Known is the past participle of to know. So had always known. So helper verb, adverb of frequency, and main lexical verb. Like I will never want more than one dog. One dog is enough. I will never want ice cream. It's not true. So you get the idea. And then it's helpful to make a chart with other verbs and adverbs of frequency with examples from the students. So if you have a whiteboard or whiteboard function on Zoom, that's just a good way to get students talking, thinking, interacting, seeing how all the parts move or don't move. So, and then also there are adverbs of degree, and we will cover those in a later video. I believe it is question 20 actually, so the last question. And then, I don't know where a good place to put my face. Anyways, question 8 deals with will and if clauses. These are both pretty simple and have simple explanations, so that is why they are just smushed into a slide together. So will and if clauses. The question is, why can a native speaker say, if you will lend me $100, I will pay you back next week? When we learned that we can't use if in future tenses. So again, this is from an upper intermediate or advanced student who really knows their tenses well. So the answer is pretty simple. The word will, in this case, is not a helping verb denoting future tense. This is a different form, a different meaning for the word will, and it just means an agreement. Like, oh yes, I will do this. It's not saying I will do, like it's not will do in the future, but it's like I promise. It's the same thing, I promise to do this. Yeah, so it's a different lexical verb, if you will. Same word, same form, but different meaning. So, related meaning. And then question 9, contractions. So is there a difference between you are not and you aren't? The answer is no. No different. That's why I have this little picture of a surgeon. You can like kind of splice up or cut up the word with contractions, certain words, and there may be more than one right form. So contractions. So 2 contractions are possible with all negative forms. So like she's not is equal to she isn't. They aren't is equal to they're not, etc. So, and maybe we can keep going. Let's go to number 10. This is the last one that I think I'm going to publish this week just because I've been doing a lot of grammar. So, verb forms in past tense question. So, did you ever work there? Why do you use the present form of the verb, which is work? Why don't you use did you ever worked there? So this is a question that some beginner students can notice, but we actually just talked about this in our level 3, so the advanced class, because they have a lot of groundwork in the grammar of this. So it looks like present tense work, but it's actually not. The whole verb is did work, did ever work. So that's kind of one of those adverbs of frequency, or so it's anyways. So the verb is did work, and then the modifier ever is in between. So we don't really need to worry about that as much. The rule in English is that you can only have one marker, like one tense marker per verb phrase. So did work is the verb, it's the verb phrase. Again, a phrase is just multiple words that are related in meaning. So whether it is the tense or number, so like singular, plural, past, or present, the marker is always on the first verb in the phrase in English. So here the first word in the verb phrase is did. And so did is already past tense. It is the past tense of do. So it is the past participle, past form. So it is marked for past tense already by virtue of just being a whole different word because do is an irregular verb. The typical past tense marker for regular verbs is that ed ending. So, but again, for irregular verbs, the marker is just the whole different form. So because did is already marked, the rest of the verb just has the regular participle. So you take the to work, that's the infinitive, and you just take off the to, then you have the participle. So did work. And then, so yeah, the pattern overall for past tense questions is did plus subject plus verb. And then typical English language learner mistakes is putting more than one marker into the verb phrase. So like, where does she work? Does is present tense of do, so where does she work? Because remember, again, in questions you have word order that's a bit different. So, yes, good. And that is the first half of our hot seat questions. Great job.